Good evening, everyone. Tonight's a meeting of the Subcommittee on Educational Partnerships, and we're glad to have Chancellor Maloney here, but before we begin, I'd like to have the clerk call the roll.
Chairman Samaras?
Yes?
Councilor Kennedy?
Here.
Councilor Mercy?
Here.
Three present.
Thank you. First of all, Chancellor Maloney, we want to thank you for coming here with your staff tonight to give us basically an outline of what's going on at the university, because I think for our constituents, it's important for them to get an idea of what's happening at the university, because anything that does happen at the university has a major impact on the city of Lowell. But first, personally, I want to congratulate you for becoming chancellor, and we're looking forward to many years of success. And I think I can speak for all the councilors here. Besides listening to your presentation, we'd also like to know how we can be of assistance to the university to make it truly the world-class university in this country. So welcome.
Thank you. And it's an honor to be here and a pleasure. Let me just test the mic for everyone in here.
Yes.
Yes.
So again, thank you, Maris and University for inviting the university to come and make what has become kind of an annual presentation. And think about the impact of the university. Putting the mic on helps. There was a reason I had these guys along. And to talk about the impact of the university on the city. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate everyone for your re-election, and no surprise there. You've represented this city very well, and so it's an honor and a privilege for me to work with all of you, and of course also with the city manager, who I know is here tonight, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the work we're doing together. But honestly, it is a privilege to be a partner with such great civic leaders, and especially in this wonderful city that we call home as a university. And together, and you'll see as you go forward in this presentation, the progress that we've made by working together, that none of these accomplishments, we've all heard about this great transformation of the university. Indeed, it's been remarkable. But similarly, the renaissance of this city, these two have gone hand in glove. And honestly, I think we all know now and appreciate that neither could happen without both things going forward. So tonight I'll be talking about a report that was recently released from our UMass Donahue Institute. They did a big, kind of a mega study of the economic impact of the UMass system on the state of Massachusetts. What you have before you is some kind of encapsulated what's happened in the impact of UMass Lowell, and so that's what I'll kind of be focusing on in a minute. So just to start with just a little bit of an overview, we've all seen the great growth of the university. This fall semester, we reached 17,500 students. We've been named by the Chronicle of Higher Education as the 10th fastest growing university in the country. And while we've done that, we've been able to maintain our spot in the U.S. News and World Report, 156 out of 3,500 universities across the country. That's all public and privates. We are 84th as a public university in the country, which is a phenomenal ranking for us and something that we're very proud of. The other thing we hear a lot about, of course, with college today is college affordability. And we share concern of the public and our students and how they pay for college. And we work very hard to keep the cost of college in line with the affordability. But one thing that we're proud about at UMass Lowell is that we know when our students graduate, they will graduate into very good paying jobs. And payscale.com continues to rank us as the top in New England for our graduates starting in their career and also in their mid-career salaries, that the students who graduate from UMass Lowell do very well in the careers that they focus on. And I guess I should just take a moment to pause and point out that with us in the room is part of our entering freshman class, part of our honor students. They're here with Professor Paul Marion, who teaches them, and I'll reference it later in the slide, Our honors students all participate in a course about the city of Lowell, Lowell as text, where they study the history, the politics, the governance, and the ups and downs of the city and the current revitalization. So these students are great partners for this city, and so we welcome them here tonight, and I thank them for being here. And I have to say, all you have to do is spend a few minutes with them, and I know you'll share our pride with these great students that we have coming to our university. I think the other thing that we've worked really hard on at UMass Lowell is to make sure that our students are very engaged in the community that we live in. So proud that we've had over 190,000 hours of community service, where our students are deeply engaged in nonprofits. Honestly, it's hard for me to keep up with all the stories because daily I hear about things they've done in the nonprofit world that I wasn't even aware of, including this afternoon hearing about one of our distinguished professors, Holly Yanko, who took a group of students to the Boys and Girls Club and helped them to think about a robotics challenge that they had, and served as a great role model along with the students. So these students are out in the community. We have co-op programs, internships. Right now we have 55 interns located in the nonprofits in the city, and of course our Difference Maker program, which has been deeply engaged in looking at how they can make a difference in their community. We're also proud, of course, and what you're most concerned about are the residents of this great city. 1,700 of our students are from the city of Lowell, and we're especially proud this year that 4 of the 6 Carney medalists are selected UMass Lowell as their school of choice. So again, we see this great growing relationship between the city, between the school department and the work that we do in K-12 education, and that turning and resulting into UMass Lowell becoming a school of choice for so many students. I mentioned the honor students who are taking the course. I kind of jumped ahead of myself a little bit there. But also for us at Lowell, of course, in that affordability theme, we are supporting Lowell residents, students or young people who come from families in Lowell with over $4.3 million in scholarship aid and financial aid so that we can keep the university affordable for the city's residents. So it's been a busy 90 days. As you know, I was appointed August 1st. It's been quite a whirlwind. We were, of course, very grateful to Marty Meehan and everything that he did for the university. We're so pleased to have him as president of the system. We miss him. He was in town yesterday. So as part of my first 90 days, I had some things that I really wanted to make sure that I launched. And first and foremost in that is kind of building on the momentum of the partnership that we have with the city. And I'm so pleased to have, as a partner, the manager, and I'll talk a little bit about his town gown idea. But certainly for us, we're launching the second phase of our strategic plan at UMass Lowell 2020. We've already accomplished a great deal. In strategic plan, you'll see we have very ambitious goals, continue to grow the university and to immerse it and deepen the partnership with the city. I have these 2020 challenge grants that I've offered not only to UMass Lowell faculty, staff, and students, but also to the members of the community. And of course, you've heard about the inauguration. Oh, I should have gone back. The picture was a picture of Allison Lamy, who won one of the challenge grants. She had an idea, of course, a part of the manager's team and Diane Trad's team. We've developed a fantastic working relationship, I have to say, with the Office of Economic Development. They've been working in really close partnership with my team. And so they've come, this one idea was for a retail pop-up, I think is what Allison, I thought that was just such a great idea. And so a number of the grants will fund actually members of the community who are thinking about how we can partner together. So fast forward, we did come up, part of their idea was to have a welcome back night for faculty, staff, and students to the university. The manager joined me at that event, and I have to tell you, it was just a very exciting night. And when I came into the city, drove into Mill Number 5, which was where we had everybody get together, just driving through the city and seeing a lot of people. We had 350 people convene at Mill Number 5 from the university. Just an exciting environment to see the students, the faculty, the staff. They all loved Mill Number 5. Many of them had never seen it before. So to open that kind of experience, but also to see hundreds of people walking through downtown in the National Park tours. The National Park was a great partner that evening. But for me, of course, my personal favorite was our Oompa band walking through downtown Lowell from the Inn and Conference Center down to Mill Number 5, New Orleans style. I don't know if they had our permission to do that, did they? I'm not really sure. I don't think it's anything we... But they were so excited, and to see the city residents cheering them on, beeping their horn. I mean, it was rush hour traffic. We all know about that. I thought people might be upset. No, they loved it. And I think, you know, for a night like that, as well as some other things we've seen, it's what you all dreamed of for this city. It's what we all really, you know, thinking of the vision of this thriving downtown. We're beginning to see the results of that vision. And I think we owe it in no small part to the vision of this council. I really mean that sincerely. But so just a couple of other things, of course, Patty McCafferty and her team and Jeff Canoia have launched with the city manager and with help from the city council and also from the Lowell plan. There's a lot to like about Lowell campaign, the second campaign, and we feel that's going very well. I know we're hearing great things from people who have seen the billboards and listened to the advertising. There's a lot of positive bounce from that. The transportation, the Tiger grant that we received, and again, the manager working with the city council, we know how much courage it took for this city to agree to take on these bridges. And I think we all know as residents of this community how critical it is that we fix those, and I say it in public, those darn Enel bridges that have, you know, really challenged all of us, and I think will really help. And thanks to the team from the city, to the city council, and from our team, Adam Backey, who really helped. And as you know, the university is committed to $2 million to help with the grant, so that was kind of enabling funding. And we're very pleased to be able to do that. And then lastly, I know a lot of our faculty and staff who have chosen to live in the city, and I thought it would be helpful, as you know, as we grow up and scale the university, we are adding faculty and staff daily. And we wanted to encourage those faculty and staff to take advantage of the great new living opportunities that this city affords. So I've launched the Live in Lowell campaign with our employees, and we are providing financial incentives to employees who have chosen to live in the city to locate here. And so again, that's going very well and received, I think, a lot of very positive feedback from our employees. Just a couple of switch the focus a little bit to innovation and research and what we're doing there. So going forward, as I mentioned earlier, the Donahue report looks at what is our actual economic impact on the city. And I think we hear a lot from city residents and from the city leaders that you have this sense that there is a great impact from what we're doing. So we kind of wanted to encapsulate that for you and just provide some summaries, which we'll go through some slides. So the Donahue study found for us over the past year, this updated study, I think the last one was done in 2010, that the collective impact of the university on this region is $854 million, close to $1 billion. And I want to walk you through how that is detailed. We generate over 7,000 jobs for the region, and I know this is something you, as the Economic Development Committee of the council, are very concerned with, is how do we create new jobs for the residents of the city? Now, again, I could go into the detail of how they conduct economic studies, and some of our students here this evening might enjoy that lecture, but we'll save it for their economics class. But if you want some detail, I could describe it to you, but I just want to say, if you look at the bottom part of the slide, so basically what I'll be talking about is the direct impact. What does the university actually fund out of its operating budget, if you look at it that way? The indirect effect is really looking at, what do our vendors, the vendors that we employ and use their services, and then finally the induced effect, you can imagine. So say we hire a bus driver for transportation, they have a job, they go out and spend money. That's what they refer to as the induced effect, how we support, for example, restaurants and other amenities, just by the fact that employees have this purchasing power in the community. And so that's the total effect. So you start to see the jobs that add up. Over 2,000 employees at the university, 5,000 that we hire through the various vendors, biggest one being probably Aramark, but there's Follett, you've heard of Global Spectrum. Those are all part of that indirect effect. So how do we get to that number? Of course, one important area for us is our research. And as you know, at the university, we've more than doubled our research expenditures, and we have a goal of getting to $90 million in research expenditures. For us, research is not just about, a faculty member sitting in a research lab kind of pondering the universe. For us, and we're very fortunate, our faculty really focus on what we call translational or applied research. They're really looking at real-world problems today and research that they can engage in that will help them to find a cure for cancer, or will help them to find better material that will protect our soldiers when they're fighting in a war. They're thinking about solutions in creating wind energy solutions and sustainable energy. In those labs, they're also working hand in glove with our students. So we see our research endeavor as being something really critical to the future, not just of the university, but also to our region. As they go forward, these researchers are also looking at new technologies, new ways of manufacturing that we believe will lead to the kind of cutting-edge economy that we know we need to support a city like Lowell. So if you start to break out just that research number alone, the direct effect, $64 million in research, 256 jobs, the indirect impact, and then the total effect of $104 million from that research endeavor. What I really like to focus on is something that we've been growing a lot at the university. So we're growing this research enterprise. We're hoping to solve real-world problems with that research. But then the other exciting part for me is to think about how we take that research and commercialize it. Because frankly, we need to think about not just how the university can make money off these commercial ventures, which is something a lot of cutting-edge universities do, but for us, it's also about once we get into this commercialization, we have actually a student group that came up with the idea for developing prosthetic arms for children in developing nations who are amputees, right? That's a great idea. So they have this idea, now they have to commercialize it. To commercialize it is a very complicated process, but this is the area that we feel we can really have the greatest impact on the city, and I'll tell you why. You know, you may have heard about the Innovation Hub in our M2D2 facility. M2D2 started in Wanalancet, and now we have a footprint right in the heart of downtown Lowell, right in the Hamilton Canal District. We are now the anchor tenant in that district with this new expanded M2D2 and Innovation Hub. Now you start to look at the bottom line here of this effect of us having this incubator. 75 million now. We're just in a startup phase with this innovation hub when you think about it. And unfortunately, I just want to introduce, behind me is Steve Tello, the Associate Vice Chancellor for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, who really was the mastermind along with our Professor Steve McCarthy. They're the ones who have developed M2D2 and now have expanded into this innovation hub. Well, what's great about this, if you look at the Innovation Hub, we've already had 2 new companies join M2D2, the 8 companies that we have there already. One of them is a faculty member from UMass Amherst, who's actually located here in the city of Lowell to develop his product. I think it's called nanogel something. You have to be really smart to know what these people do, I'm just saying. But they have a lot of great ideas, but the great thing about them is that as they come in and fill out M2D2 and the Innovation Hub now is allowing us to go into other industries like robotics, which would be great for this city. There's no reason why we couldn't be doing some small-scale manufacturing in a city like Lowell in this cutting-edge technology of robotics. So we recently just had 2 companies join into the Innovation Hub, and Franklin Robotics and Harmonis. And you think about what these folks are going to need. So they need a lot of help from the university. They work with our faculty. They help them to develop their ideas, develop their prototypes. They engage our students. So we really want our students to get in that incubator world, in that entrepreneurship world, have a chance to figure out what this new world economy is about, because we all believe this is the future. So not only do we have that kind of effect, but we also, obviously, all of those companies need lawyers, they need bankers, they need all kinds of services. And this whole startup world, it's becoming an industry in itself. You look at what Cambridge has done, it's unbelievable the footprint that they have for these incubators. And again, the spillover effect right now, 75 million, I can absolutely see that we will have tremendous growth as we fill out this innovation hub. And again, this is all really closely dovetails, I think, with the city's vision for expanding in that Hamilton Canal area. And just, again, picture the types of people that we have locating there. They're really smart. They're really driven entrepreneurs. They are going to seek the amenities that the downtown affords them. So I think this has just been a really great opportunity for UMass Lowell and the city. And just one further thing, I think it's very symbolic of the great capacity of this city and this university and the state to partner. The funding for that building and for the build-out came very much from the state, from some private sponsors that were found through M2D2 and the Innovation Hub, and from the university. And the city, through the city manager's leadership, has been really helpful in helping us attract some both state and private attention to that Innovation Hub. And now Diane Tradd and her team actually have their parts of their team physically located in the Innovation Hub, because I know the manager one time expressed some interest in making sure that as we spin out these companies, which we will undoubtedly do, that he wants to make sure that they know that the city of Lowell is a good place for them to locate. He doesn't want them going to Tingsboro or Chelmsford. So Diane and her team are there working hand in glove with these startups, helping them to educate about the opportunities that are here for them in the city. And again, I think this is just going to have a long-term, very powerful impact, and has already brought 370 jobs in just the last couple of years as we've expanded this program. The Inn and Conference Center, I think we all remember the Inn and Conference Center when the university purchased it a number of years ago. I remember coming to the city council talking about that pending purchase, and I think for all of us who have been a member of this community that it was really hard to think about taking that Inn and Conference Center from the private owners that were supposed to be developing it. But as a university, and I think the city realized, there was really no hope for that hotel as a private hotel. It was ready to go into foreclosure. We knew what its destiny might become. And so fast forward to today. Just unbelievable, really. This is, I think, and I'm going to talk also about the Tsongas Center in the next slide. But again, I mentioned realizing the vision that you've all had, that we've all heard for so many years. I really think this summer, when you look at what happened between the Inn and Conference Center and the Tsongas Center, it was astounding. Even for those of us who planned it and were hoping for it, we never expected to see what actually happened this summer. So for example, we had a 90% increase in university-connected conferences in just the past 4 years. Some of those conferences, just to describe one I was personally involved with. So our students, as you know, leave in the middle of May, and then we now have a whole special events and conference planning team, and it's their job to sell all these facilities and bring groups into the Inn and Conference Center and the Tsongas Center. And we've also asked our faculty to think about, boy, if you're hosting a regional event in psychology or a national event in history or conference on entrepreneurship, which Steve and I were involved in, let's try to get it hosted in Lowell, because again, it's great for the university, great for the city. So as a result, you know, if you think about over the summer, between the Inn and Conference Center had this past year actually over 600 events. Last year at the Tsongas Center, which I'll show you in a minute, 330,000 visitors. In 1 month, the month of June, this past summer, there were 36,000 visitors between the Inn and Conference Center and the Tsongas Center. The effect and the impact on downtown, I believe, was staggering. I think that we have nothing but opportunity here. This is still a build year for us. All of these conferences, many of them we feel will return, especially the big ones, on an annual basis. So, you know, I think we all heard this summer about stories of lines around a sidewalk outside the subway because people needed to get a sandwich. If we can draw this kind of business to the city through our Inn and Conference Center and the Tsongas Center, again, we think that we will continue to have a great positive impact on the city and especially the downtown local businesses. And I believe you can start to see that the downtown local businesses and chamber are figuring that out and starting to think through how they might change their own business plans to take advantage of these new summer crowds that we have never had in the city. But as you know, that being said, of course, July, we all look forward to the Folk Festival. We love it at the Inn and Conference Center. I mean, we had many weeks at the Inn and Conference Center this year where the whole hotel was fully booked, 100% occupied. So just a phenomenal track record and story there. Nothing but positive things to say. And of course, I know that you like to know also about our fiscal contributions, and just this past year, this Inn and Conference Center generated over $80,000 in cash to the city for meal and room taxes. So the other great story, of course, that we have in partnering with the city was the takeover of the Tsongas Center. And again, we know that the city had done its best to develop this, and I think it had done well for a period of time, but then we know the Tsongas Center needed a lot of work. We also know that the audience was not building the way that a lot of people had hoped it would. Fast forward to today, the Tsongas Center is generating more than $10 million in economic activity for the city, 300 jobs. And when you think about some of the things that go on there, as I mentioned, 330,000 visitors to the Tsongas Center each one of those visitors is bringing some economic impact to the city, whether it's just come in and park and pay for their parking. And we know that the Tsongas Center had generated $263,000 per year over the last 2.5 years for the city side of the parking. So again, these are phenomenal cash revenue generators for the city, and that doesn't include Lot A or any of the metered parking that we know is all along the boulevard there. So this has had a profound impact for the city. The Tsongas Center, I think, has nothing, again, but opportunity and growth potential for us. You think about going forward, our hockey games are just, the hockey games, and if you haven't had a chance to get there, I think you've all been there and you've seen the excitement. It is just phenomenal. We are 5,500 students, faculty, staff, community members attending every game. Appreciate Councilor Belanger. He's been a great supporter of the River Hawks himself personally. But this hockey and the spirit that it brings, again, not just to the university, not to the close to 2,500 students that attend, which is great. When you walk through there, what you see is a community that is taking advantage of just a great amenity. It's a lot of fun. It's a family night out. It's a very inexpensive family night out compared to going into Boston to catch Boston hockey or Boston baseball. Oh, baseball, you'll be talking about that later, right, with the Spinners? But of course, just looking at the numbers again, the Donahue Institute estimates that every UMass Lowell hockey game generates $196,000 in local impact, economic impact, half of that going to nearby restaurants and businesses. So I'm sure, again, as you've seen on the hockey nights that we have, there's no surprise in this number to me. You go to any restaurant in downtown that's anywhere near the Tsongas Center with 5,500 people pouring into this city, the whole city is jammed with life. And again, that is nothing but good things for the city. And again, the spillover and the cash that comes out and generated through the Tsongas Center is phenomenal. And the good news is we still have room to grow. We're growing our Division I sports. We plan to take our basketball, men's and women's teams and increase the number of games that are run at the Tsongas Center. And we expect to generate the same kind of activity. Last year at our basketball games, and I don't have the number here, I think we had about 3 games on campus last year. Quite honestly, I was so pleasantly surprised. We averaged well over 3,000 students at those basketball games. Now compare this to where we were with the Devils and even with UMass Lowell hockey 10 years ago. We were averaging, I mean, either team was lucky to get 1,000 people at a game. And there were many games where they're not 1,000 people. They were lucky in some cases to have 500. You look at this now where we're averaging 5,000 a game. We hope with the basketball to do the same thing. And again, just the multiplier effect on the city, I think, will be profound in just a short period of time. So I was going to go now into some of the geography and the maps of some of the building that's gone on. And as you know, this has been a major thrust. It was a major thrust for the Meehan administration. And we added 10 buildings to the university in just 5 years. So here's some of the sites and some of the outstanding things that have done that have really, I think, graced the city, and that we've done all of these additions with our master planning group, our facilities group, always working hand in glove with the city planning department, making sure that these facilities, and also with the historic park and the preservation committee, making sure that as we develop these new buildings, that they not only fit into the landscape of the city, but they in fact enhance. And we believe I think, lift up the look of the city. And so many people have talked to us, for example, the Saab Engineering Technology Building, the beautiful new bridge, the Howe Bridge that's there, leading now to what was the abandoned, closed up St. Joe's Hospital, now this glistening, beautiful beacon of life in what was a troubled part of the city, there's no doubt. Now we feel the vibrance of that section of the city, and I can tell you myself, walking through that building, which I do every morning, and to see the neighbors that come into the building to take advantage for the first time. I mean, think about it, in the past, what they had Cody's Market there, this beautiful, that senior housing project, to come into the building and take advantage of the book signings that we've had, to be able to walk in the streets and feel safe again, to be able to take advantage of Sal's Pizza right there and our beautiful, it's like Panera bread. We couldn't get Panera bread, but it tastes just as good. But to think of that beautiful cafe that's open to the public, and we designed that building, and trust me when I tell you, we had a lot of conversations. This is an example of what I mean. And of course, Marty was adamant that people have access to that first floor of that building, because we want that building to be part of that community, and for the community to feel like we're one and the same with them. So as you approach the building, you can enter it from any part of any side of the building, which I do think has lent to exactly that impact, where people do feel welcome. And I think that we've set up the flow of the building. And again, it's just very gratifying to see seniors walking through our bookstore and getting a little Riverhawk set of mittens, I hope. But really just, again, being part of a community and seeing that come to life. And so, again, you see all the other buildings that have been added that we've been, I won't go through too much detail. And then, of course, we're really excited about replacing the canal bridges going forward. Again, we feel this will have a great impact on transportation, alleviating some of the traffic that exists in the city. Certainly our buses are on the road much more than they should be, much longer than they should be. Students are getting in their cars because they don't want to take the buses, because the buses have to go on these crazy circuitous routes through the city. I mean, it's wild. Sometimes it takes them too long, so the students get in their car. So I think that the final part of this also is to something that a project Adam has been working on, and that is how we get that Pawtucket corridor more walkable, more bicycle-friendly. And I think, again, having these bridges be improved will be part of the solution going forward. So that pretty much concludes my comments, except for to say, again, we recognize how fortunate we are to be in a city that is so incredibly forward-thinking, a city that has done nothing but be good partners with this university, welcomed our students and the nonprofits and K-12, and embrace them as members of this community in a way that they know they wouldn't experience in other places. Also, I think for them, and now growing, and one thing I meant to mention with the Inn and Conference Center, increasingly we see our parents and families becoming part of the UMass Lowell and the Lowell family, which is another part of this puzzle to build, I think, a vibrant downtown. So those are some of the things that we're working on. But thank you again for all of your cooperation, and thank you for the time to be able to share this good news with you tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, I'd like to say on behalf of the city council, I want to thank you for this complete report. I think the citizens of Lowell, to have a report like that, to really understand the economic impact the university has had on this community is, it's been well worth the time that you've taken tonight to do this. So I want to thank you for that. But first of all, I also want to introduce some of the other members of the city council to here. Councilor Belanger is also here, Councilor Leahy, Councilor Milanazzo, Mayor Elliott, and I believe that's it. No. Thank you. Are there any questions from Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say I offer my congratulations to you, Madam Chancellor. we're very, very proud of you, much deserving, and a long time coming. So I'm thrilled that you're at the top. I'm really thrilled. And I did have an opportunity before this subcommittee meeting started, and I talked to your university students, and I'm very, very impressed with each and every one of them. They're magnificent, and they're still awake. I'm just so proud of them. They're just amazing. So I welcome them as well to the council chamber. This is where a lot of work gets done. We do have a wonderful partnership with UMass Lowell. Your Professor Paul Marion will give you all an A+ tomorrow, I'm sure of it. So I'm very thrilled that we have this partnership ongoing. I'm glad to hear that there is a profit and money is coming into the city when the hotels, the Inn and Conference Center is filled. I wanted to ask you that question, but this survey was so thorough that you said it before I could ask it, and $80,000 in meal tax and hotel taxes came back to the city. That's good. That is wonderful, rather than us losing out all the time with the Inn and Conference Center before it was, when it was ours. So I'm very proud of that. People don't realize all the jobs that are created from a university with Lowellians and people in the Merrimack Valley, and I'm very proud of the housing partnership offered for people that work to live in the city. That is remarkable as well. We at one time had that in the city, the Housing Authority and the City of Lowell and different departments had it. So you're on a roll. You're doing a great job, and we're very, very proud. And please keep in mind that there, in the future, the Pawtucketville PCC, Pawtucketville Citizens Council, would like to meet, not in a session like this, but in a roundtable discussion back and forth, doesn't have to be televised, as to when students come in, they're issued a handbook or something to the rules and regulations so that we can know and be partners, not just with the city, but with the neighborhood as well. So I think there's another way that we want to meet again in that particular venue, if we could do that. Keep that in mind, I'm thinking, because we were only asked if we could have that happen, and I think we can. We want to be good partners and good neighbors as well. So thank you very much. We're very, very proud of you. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
thank you for your
Councilor
kind comments there, and we're more than happy to meet with the council. I think, again, this will only be successful if these are all have to be win-win solutions.
Yes.
And that's what you're good at, and we want to be good partners in finding them.
And if I just might add, and I'm sorry, I remember many years ago where Kay Doyle was in charge of lab work, lab students. This is very, very important. We don't think about it. You go to the doctor, you're ill, you don't know what's bothering you, and you know, the doctor doesn't know it either. But that tests go to the lab, and it's lab technicians. They do all the research and I don't know what they do, but they get it all together, and they give the results back to the doctor. That's a very important concept. That's a very important job. Mm-hmm. So that's still going on at the university, isn't it?
It is, and we're growing that program. The
Okay.
clinical lab science, it's a fantastic program, and it's a treasured gem for us.
Yes, it
Thank
is.
you for raising
Thank
it,
you.
yeah.
I also, though, want to thank Diane Trad as a member of the city staff for her partnership and work with you. I mean, that's what makes all of these
Sure.
programs truly workable. Thank you very much. Councilor Kennedy?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to congratulate you, Chancellor Maloney. And I think as you mentioned earlier in your remarks, the city council just went through a recent election, and in preparation for those elections, there were several candidates' nights. And one of the questions that at least one or two was, what does the university do for the city, or something to that effect? Because a lot of the university property, or all of the university property for that matter, is not subject to taxes. And so what's the upside? And I think that you have done an excellent job in articulating just what the university's impact is on the city of Lowell. And so that's a good thing. There are two things that I would like to just bring up, if I could. And one is something that I brought up several times with your predecessor, and we had several discussions about that, and that is that as the university continues to grow and continues to add dorm space, that every consideration be given to making that dorm space be privately owned space that's leased by the university rather than owned by the university. And I understand that that's a complicated and difficult thing to do, but it can be done, and I think it's worthwhile, and I think that's something that I've been pushing for a couple of years. So as you go forward, I would just hope that you would keep that in mind. And then the second thing is, we've had some discussions on the city council about Merrimack Street and maybe adding at some point in the future Victorian lights along Merrimack Street, and maybe some other streetscape enhancements in an effort to connect the university and the St. Joseph's property to the downtown. And if we can do that via Merrimack Street and add dorms along that way, if that's at all possible, I think that that would be good for everybody. And that's something else that you can respond or not, but I just needed to bring those points up because those are issues for me.
Sure.
Thank you.
If I could, so a couple of things. First of all, there's no greater champions of the privately developed housing than myself or President Mann, and he's trying to take that model now to other campuses who are quite envious of UMass Lowell that we've been able to manage. And as you know, we just had a ribbon-cutting opening, our second dormitory that was developed by Soho Development and expanded to the second suite over on South Campus, which has been fantastic for our students. I love to go out and just brag about how successful that model has been for UMass Lowell and for the city that has benefited, and for the developer, frankly. So I think, the president is all about this. We're all very intrigued and interested and open and willing to certainly look and talk with private developers. So that's thing one. Thing two, I should have mentioned it when I talked about downtown and the Inn Conference Center. This was the manager's idea, and he really championed with our team that we needed to provide help in cutting out part of a sidewalk on Merrimack Street, so our bus stops in downtown now. And we've already heard from our students that this has been, so our students are now stopping in downtown Lowell, getting off the bus on and off, and they're taking great advantage of this. Was a great idea, and something, so along the lines that you're talking about is, how do we create that walkability and ease of movement of our students into the heart of downtown? So that was a first step, but there's no doubt that we can do more along those ways. And so just so you know, the university, also leases privately owned residential properties, pretty large footprint. I didn't know if you were aware of that. And several of those are either right on Merrimack Street or right around the corner from Merrimack Street. And so as we continue to grow, we definitely are looking for creative partners in all those ways. Those are great points.
I was aware of that. I'm just looking for more.
Sure.
That's all.
Thank you. Just acknowledge Councilor Rourke is also present. Councilor Leahy, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chancellor, for coming, and congratulations. Just some things that I've observed over the last few years also is that, as Councilor Kennedy mentioned, the connection between the crossings and downtown, especially on Merrimack Street, that would be great to connect that with the Victorian lighting, as we said, and even, we're looking, what can we do with these buildings with the second and third floors and extra rooms, dorms, whatever we could do. That might be a good idea to really bring people into the neighborhoods. I've seen what you've done with the buildings there, and I saw that whole neighborhood transform from when the old hospital was there and when it was torn down and rebuilt, and the connection with Cody's Market and all that. It's wonderful. I had mentioned to Adam a while ago too that it'd be nice to if we can really let the public know that there's parking available, you know, at crossings where you can park and run in and use the stores and the bookstore and the restaurants. And the same on South Campus, maybe with the Starbucks and things like that.
Do you
So if
think
we
it's
can-
not well marked enough, well signed enough? or-
You know, I don't know, because maybe I'm there so much, I don't notice it, but I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you if there's a sign, a blue sign up that says parking or not, because I'm there all the time, I don't notice it, so. But anything we can do to let more people know, because some people might say, geez, I didn't know there was a Starbucks on South Campus. But there is a parking lot, I understand, that you can use.
Yeah,
So things like that. But the growth over the years, I've seen it when Chancellor Meehan came in and the transformation and the wonderful things that you're going to do. It's just great for the city. And the last thing with the hockey, I've been going for the last few years. I was the pro hockey, I used to go to those games first. Then when they left town, I switched over, started going to the UMass games and really enjoyed that. And then just the vision that you had to redo the Songus Arena, it's, you know, made quite the difference. So we appreciate everything, and as they said, it's great to see the benefits. You know, people complain about the taxes, but to see what the university adds to the city, this really is a good explanation for everybody tonight, so thank you.
well, thank you, and I think we all have to work at educating each other about where the opportunities lie. So where is the real opportunity to create capacity to generate new revenue for us and for you? That's really got to be the conversation, is how can we, and I think that we've proven that we're willing partners in doing that. And I think in so many of, again, we're leasing property across the city. There's a number of real estate owners that couldn't survive without the university, quite frankly. So you could look at the, you know, the fact that what we have is not taxed, but we're supporting a lot of people who are paying those taxes that you need to have paid also, right? So it really becomes a way to look at the puzzle. And we certainly would love to hear any feedback that anyone has and how we can generate more revenue looking at these different venues.
Thank you. Council Blanchard?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Council Samaras, congratulations to you for putting this meeting tonight, putting this together this evening. Chancellor Maloney, congratulations in order to you. Now with this council being reelected and you as Chancellor, we can now continue this magnificent partnership that we have going on as we continue to make Lowell, as we continue our joint marketing campaign, which we just began that endeavor just months ago, and I've already seen and heard just some terrific ads. I think it's going very well. And as we continue to make a downtown a college town and the whole city, and you brought some students here tonight, and to all of you, we welcome you to Lowell. We hope you're going to spending at least 4 years in our city, and we want you to integrate in our city, and we want you to hopefully call it home for many, many years to come. So I welcome you all to the city of Lowell. But hands down, as Councilor Kenny stated, you know, if you look at the university strictly from a real estate tax perspective, I think it's extremely short-sighted. There are so many other beneficial aspects to to UMass Lowell. Hands down, it's the city's greatest asset. No two ways about it. With all the venues, you know, the Songus Arena was costing the city of Lowell $1 million a year. Before we handed over ownership to the university, costing us $1 million a year. And the hotel was again about to go into receivership and be foreclosed on. So it's in the right hands at this time. So, and the stats tonight, I mean, every 6 to 9 months we receive new statistics from the university, and things continue to go up in an upward trajectory. So, well done. Let's just keep it going is all I can say in my final statement. So, congratulations, and let's just keep the momentum going. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council Milanese, did you have any questions? No? Mayor? Okay. Again, on behalf of the council, Councilor Martin is also present here. Councilor Martin, do you have any questions? Thank you.
I think we should make a motion to take this report and place it on file.
Second the motion.
Okay. Clerk, read the roll.
Michael. I made a motion to take the report and place it on file, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
I want to thank everybody for attending tonight's meeting, and again, Chancellor Maloney, thank you for a great report.
you.
Wish you the best for the future, you and your staff. Thank you.
We keep working together like this. The best is yet to come for the city of Lowell. Thank you.
To adjourn.
Move to adjourn.